So, Andor episode 12. Now this was the final episode of the 12 episode season, and I must say, this episode had great acting, great writing, and the camera work was great as well, honestly. Way better than the shaky cam from Obi-Wan, but I've got to say this episode was boring. It was kind of a lackluster ending to a series that I thought would have a more interesting ending, and a more important ending.
You know what? You thought wrong!
Now this episode's about Andor going back to his hometown, Ferrix, to attend his mother's funeral, whilst the Empire is there waiting to arrest him or worse. So, in my opinion, this ending did a great job of tying everything together. There is no plot points without an ending. I mean, of course, there's still the plots that are ongoing, that will go into season 2, but all the story arcs that needed an ending in this episode did get one. So that just goes along with the great writing of this show, which I'm very happy to say, because many shows nowadays just forget certain plot points of their show and just don't address it whatsoever. After a certain point, if they want to forget it, they just do. It's pretty lazy. So I'm happy to see that with Andor. Andor does a lot of things well, and a lot of things that other Star Wars shows have not done. I mean, Kenobi and Boba Fett, we're not going to go into it, but I've always got to call it out. But yeah, the writing quality in this show is very refreshing for Star Wars Disney. But apart from the great writing, the great acting, and the great camera work, this episode was another boring episode. I mean, it had more action than it had in any other episode. I mean, it had more action than any of the other episodes did. But at the same time, the action was very unimportant. I mean, it's important for the arc of the hometown of Ferrix, but really, how interesting is that for a final episode of a series that really had so many other ways to go? I mean, this is the time in between episode 3 and episode 4, A New Hope, where the Empire's taken over everything, they're controlling everything, but Disney Star Wars finds a way to distract itself from the obvious main plots and main parts of the story at this time in the storyline. It's the same as they did with Obi-Wan. You know, Kenobi is one of the most important characters in Star Wars. You know, probably the second most important character in Star Wars, if you look at it a certain way, and think about the importance he had in this whole storyline. But they made it about a new character, Reva, which doesn't make sense, and it's kind of like this, where we've got a very, very interesting part of the timeline, what fans have been wanting to see for so long, yet they find a way to make it about something boring, just some random, boring looking hometown, dull looking, nothing really interesting. I mean, everything they do in the hometown is so like boring and old-fashioned. I mean, I keep saying boring, but how do they make things so dry and dull? Honestly, this is Star Wars. There's nothing dull about Star Wars. Yet they found a way to do that with Andor, and this episode carries on with it. I mean, I did not expect the final episode to be all on Ferrix, just on Ferrix the whole time. It reminds me of the Boba Fett ending, like what they did with Boba Fett, you know, he was on Mos Espa, and in the whole of the last episode, he was just trying to protect his town that he's the chief of. Yeah, because that's what we wanted for a Boba Fett character. The most stupid and non-important and boring way to treat Boba's character, which doesn't make sense for what everyone loves him for, his badassery. And it's just like this episode. I mean, everything going on in the Star Wars universe, and we're just focusing on Ferrix. I know it's called the Andor show. I know it's about Andor. And I actually really like his character, by the way. I actually really like Andor's character. That's the thing. But they could have done so much more important things with him in this show. I mean, even in Rogue One, the way he spoke about his past made it sound so interesting. It did not need lightsabers or anything else. I just needed to see that Andor storyline that he was telling us about in Rogue One. And this is not it. He grew up on Ferrix with his adoptive parents, and he went around being a criminal for a bit. I don't think this show is what they're aiming for when they made him have his little dialogue to Jyn Erso in Rogue One about his past and the things he's been through, because he made it sound a lot more badass than it is. But yeah, this episode really does match all the themes of all the other episodes in this season. It's boring, lackluster, yet well written, well acted, and well shot. And by the way, the sets look amazing. No Star Wars show has had such good looking sets, apart from Mando of course, and the Mando episodes in Boba Fett, which of course had a way bigger budget and just looked so out of place. But honestly, this episode has some great sets, and you could tell it has a huge budget put into it. But it was just a lackluster episode. I mean, it's not rewatchable. When you watch a good show, what do you think about? You think about, could I watch this again? Is it a fun watch? If I went back and binged it this time, would it be better? Would it not be better? And honestly, I think if I went back and binged this show, to watch 2, 3 or 4 episodes back to back, honestly, I couldn't do it. I mean, 1 episode's enough to try and get through in this show. Watching 4 episodes of straight talking, and it's not top tier dialogue. It's good dialogue, but it's not top tier dialogue. It's very overrated by Andor lovers, I must say. You can disagree with that, of course, it's fine. Everyone has their opinions. I'm not saying you're wrong for liking it or anything. It's a well-written show and I understand and see why you like it. But in my opinion, the dialogue is nowhere near top tier. We need to hear every single word that comes out of every character's mouth or else you're going to miss something. Like I've said in my previous reviews, it's not Attack on Titan dialogue. It's not on that level. But yeah, so overall, this episode was lackluster to me. It was boring. It literally ends with Luthen about to kill Andor, or maybe he's not about to kill Andor, who knows? Because it's not like we see Andor in the future. I mean, oh damn, is he going to survive or not? I mean, honestly, at least make the ending somewhat exciting. Get me excited for season 2. But they failed to even do that. How not exciting do you have to make an ending? It suits the show perfectly. The ending follows the exact themes of the rest of the show. It was boring, uninteresting. I'm not excited for season 2. I wouldn't mind watching it. It has great acting, great camera work, and great writing. So I can definitely watch it, and I think it will be a lot more interesting in season 2 either way. Even if they failed to promote that, there was no excitement at the end of this episode. I wanted something to be like, oh shit, season 2 is going to be crazy. But no, it was not like that. Is Andor going to live or die? Well, we already know the answer to that. So yeah, thanks for that ending. After 12 episodes, that's the ending we've got. Maybe we can finally move away from this small town on a small planet and actually get into the more important stuff. Season 2 will be a lot more entertaining, especially what I know about this current timeline. I know that it's going to be a lot more entertaining. They have no choice, like they can't even fail that. It's just going to be more fun. Now they've done a lot of this low tier stuff, now they could get into the more important stuff, because now there's tension between characters and there's bigger stakes, which of course was going to be the case. I mean, you can't get any lower stakes in this. But yeah, anyways, if you really disagree with me, tell me below. You can dislike the video, I guess. You can do whatever you want. I'm gonna be honest, every time I review something and every time I talk about Star Wars, the thing I love so much, like everyone else does, Andor fans, people who aren't so interested in Andor, you're all still Star Wars fans if you love Star Wars. But yeah, tell me if you agree or disagree below. Let me know your opinions on the show. Did you like the ending? Just let me know your whole opinion on the show. I'd love to hear it. And I'll see you on the next one.
Master Windu.
You are under arrest, Chancellor.
Are you threatening me, Master Jedi?
The Senate will decide your fate.
I am the Senate.
Not yet.
Here. Oh.
Anakin, the Jedi are taking over!
I am going to end this once and for all.
No. I have the power to save the one you love.
I need him. What have I done?
Learn to use the dark side of the Force.
I will do whatever you ask.
Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader.